Captain Dane Ashworth stood before the magnificent celestial court of Vethra Prime, his uniform crisp despite the long journey through hyperspace. The crystalline palace stretched endlessly above him, its walls humming with the power of 1,000 stars. He had come here as Earth's representative, expecting diplomatic negotiations. He had not expected to be offered a bride. "Behold Princess Kira of the 7th House," announced Chancellor Vex, his voice echoing through the vast chamber. "The most beautiful maiden in all the known galaxy, whose hand has been sought by emperors and star kings alike." The princess glided forward, her iridescent skin catching the light like liquid starshine. Her beauty was indeed breathtaking, ethereal in a way that made lesser beings weep. The assembled nobles whispered their approval, certain that no human could resist such perfection. But Dane's eyes had already found something else entirely. In the shadows behind the royal dais stood an older woman with pale purple skin and dark curly hair that fell in gentle waves around her shoulders. She wore simple robes of deep indigo, almost invisible among the gaudy courtiers. Her 2 hands were folded gracefully, her 2 legs planted firmly despite her obvious age. There was something in her tired eyes, a depth that spoke of eons of experience, of sorrow carried with dignity. "I am honored by your offer," Dane said, his voice carrying clearly through the silence. "But I must respectfully decline." The court erupted in gasps and murmurs. Princess Kira's perfect features twisted in shock. "Instead," Dane continued, his gaze never leaving the elder woman, "I would request the hand of that lady there. If she would have me." The woman, Elder Vera, as he would learn, looked up in genuine surprise. Her eyes, ancient and knowing, met his with a mixture of confusion and something else. Hope, perhaps, long buried. "This is madness," shrieked a noble. "She is but a servant, a cast-off from better days." "She is unfit for companionship," another added. "Her years have made her useless for bearing heirs or bringing glory to your house." But Dane stepped forward, extending his hand toward Vera. "Beauty fades," he said quietly. "Wisdom endures. And in her eyes, I see both truth and strength that no amount of external perfection could match." The galaxy watched in stunned silence as the elder woman, trembling slightly, reached out to take his offered hand. Neither knew that this simple gesture would awaken powers that had slept for centuries, or that their choice would reshape the very foundations of cosmic civilization. They only knew that in that moment, something ancient and powerful stirred between them, a connection that would prove stronger than empires. The private gardens of Vethra Prime offered sanctuary from the court's whispers and scandalized stares. Dane walked beside Vera along paths lined with luminescent flowers that pulsed gently in the twilight. 3 weeks had passed since their unconventional betrothal, and each day brought new discoveries about the remarkable woman beside him. "Tell me about the stars," Vera said softly, her voice carrying an odd reverence. "You humans navigate by them, don't you?" Dane smiled, noting how she spoke of humans as if from a distance. "We do. But I suspect you know more about the stars than I ever will." Her pale purple skin seemed to glow faintly in the starlight, and those ancient eyes held secrets that made him ache to understand her fully. "I knew them once," she whispered. "Long ago, when they sang to me." Before he could ask what she meant, she turned to face him, her 2 hands reaching up to cup his face. "Dane, why did you choose me?" "Truly." He covered her hands with his, feeling the slight tremor in her fingers. "Because when I looked at you, I saw someone who had loved deeply, lost greatly, and still chose to remain kind. I saw strength that couldn't be broken by time or betrayal." Vera's breath caught. "You speak of betrayal as if you know." "I know pain when I see it," he said gently, drawing her closer. "And I know that whoever hurt you was a fool." Their first kiss was tentative, centuries of loneliness making Vera hesitant to believe in love again. But as Dane's arms encircled her, something stirred within her, not just emotion, but power. The flowers around them blazed brighter, and distant stars seemed to pulse in rhythm with her heartbeat. Later, in the privacy of her chambers, Vera allowed herself to be vulnerable. Her simple robes fell away, revealing skin that held the faint luminescence of nebulae. Dane worshipped her body with gentle touches, showing her that age had only made her more beautiful in his eyes. "I haven't felt this way in over 3 centuries, she whispered against his shoulder as they lay entwined. 3 centuries, he murmured, though part of him wasn't surprised. Everything about her spoke of impossible age and wisdom. "I am older than I appear, beloved," she said, her fingers tracing patterns on his chest that seemed to mirror constellations. "And I fear that when you learn the truth, you may regret your choice." But Dane only held her tighter, unaware that cosmic forces were already stirring, drawn by the awakening of something that had slumbered too long. The attack came at dawn, when the twin suns of Vethra Prime painted the sky in shades of gold and crimson. Dark ships descended from the void, their weapons charging with malevolent energy. But it wasn't the palace they sought, it was Vera. "The emissary has awakened," the lead attacker transmitted, his voice cold with ancient hatred. "She must be destroyed before she remembers what she truly is." Dane found Vera in the garden, standing perfectly still as energy bolts rained around them. Her eyes were closed, her hands raised toward the sky, and power, raw, cosmic power, flowed through her like liquid starlight. "Vera," he called, but she seemed lost in some profound transformation. "I remember now," she whispered, her voice carrying harmonics that made the very air sing. "I remember who I was. Who I am." The attacker's weapon struck an invisible barrier around her, their energy absorbed and redirected back at them. Vera's simple robes dissolved, replaced by garments woven from the fabric of space itself. Her pale purple skin blazed with the light of newborn stars, and her dark curly hair floated as if suspended in zero gravity. "I am Vera Thani, emissary of the stars," she declared, her voice now carrying the authority of one who had shaped galaxies. "And I have been asleep far too long." The truth crashed over Dane like a tidal wave. The woman he loved wasn't just an elder, she was a cosmic entity, one of the ancient beings who had guided civilization across the stars. The stories were real, the legends true, and she had been hidden away by those who feared her power. "The Stellar Council betrayed you," he said, understanding flooding through him. "They made everyone forget." "They feared what I represented," Vera replied, her transformation complete. She was still recognizably herself, but now her true nature blazed forth, ageless, powerful, magnificent. Love that transcends species, wisdom that challenges authority, power that serves rather than dominates. The attacking ships retreated, their pilots recognizing the futility of challenging a fully awakened emissary. But Vera's attention was entirely on Dane, uncertainty flickering in her cosmic eyes. "Now you see what I truly am," she said softly. "Do you still choose me?" Dane stepped forward without hesitation, taking her hands in his. The contact sent shockwaves through both their souls, his human love proving to be the key that had unlocked her dormant power. "I choose you," he said firmly. "I choose the woman who tended gardens in exile, who carried wisdom with humility, who loved me despite centuries of reason to distrust. Your power doesn't change who you are, it just makes you more yourself." Their kiss ignited supernovas in distant galaxies, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Stellar Council convened an emergency session, their floating citadel hidden in the void between galaxies. For 3 centuries, they had ruled through fear and manipulation, their power built on the suppression of the emissaries. Now their greatest threat had returned. "She cannot be allowed to remember the others," declared High Counselor Thex, his reptilian features twisted with fury. "If she awakens her sisters, our reign ends." But Vera and Dane were already moving. Across the galaxy, they traveled to the hidden prisons where the other emissaries slumbered, their memories locked away by the Council's cruel machinations. With each awakening, the balance of power shifted. On the war-torn world of Kelios, they found Mirasan, the emissary of peace, her essence bound within a child's body to keep her weak. Vera's touch restored her true form, and with it, the planet's devastating civil war simply ended. Weapons turned to dust, hatred transformed to understanding. "Sister," Mirasan whispered, her joy radiant. You have found what we all sought, a love that transcends the boundaries of species and time. The Council's forces met them above the prison moon of Xerion, where the emissary of justice lay trapped. The battle was fierce, reality itself bending under the assault of cosmic powers. But Dane fought beside his beloved, his human determination and tactical brilliance proving surprisingly effective against beings who had forgotten what it meant to truly fight for something. Your love makes her stronger, Mira-san observed, watching as Vera's power flowed more freely when Dane was near. It grounds her to mortality while freeing her divine nature. In the heart of the battle, as energy weapons tried to tear them apart, Vera and Dane found a moment of desperate intimacy. In the shadow of a destroyed battleship, they came together with the passion of those who might not see another dawn. Their love was defiant, blazing brighter than the explosions around them. If we die here, Dane whispered against her lips, I want you to know that choosing you was the best decision I've ever made. We will not die, Vera replied, her power surging. We have too much work to do. The final confrontation came when High Counselor Thex himself appeared, wielding weapons that could unmake stars. But he had underestimated the power of love freely given and returned. Vera's justice was tempered by Dane's mercy, her cosmic fury guided by his human compassion. You ruled through fear, Vera told the defeated council. But fear is no foundation for civilization. Love is. Hope is. The belief that everyone deserves a chance at happiness. The council's tyranny ended not with their destruction, but with their transformation. Forced to confront the emotions they had suppressed for millennia, they began the long journey back to wisdom. 5 years had passed since the awakening, and the galaxy had transformed beyond recognition. Where once there had been rigid hierarchies and species-based discrimination, now there was cooperation and understanding. The emissaries worked together, but it was Vera and Dane who had become the symbol of what was possible when love conquered prejudice. Their palace was built on new harmony, a world where beings from across the galaxy came to learn the arts of peace and governance. In their private chambers, high above the gardens where representatives from 1,000 worlds worked together, Vera and Dane found moments of quiet intimacy. Do you ever regret it? Vera asked one evening, her head pillowed on Dane's chest as they watched the stars through their transparent ceiling. Choosing the difficult path? Never, he replied, his fingers combing through her dark curls. Age had touched him, he was graying now, his body showing the wear of cosmic adventures, but his love for her had only deepened. Though I do wonder sometimes what would have happened if I had chosen Princess Kira instead. Vera laughed, the sound like crystal bells. She married the Chancellor's son last year. They seem quite happy, though I suspect she's still puzzled by your choice. Let her be puzzled, Dane said, pulling Vera closer. Some things can't be explained, only experienced. Their love had become legend. Songs were sung about the human who saw past surface beauty to find cosmic truth. Children across the galaxy learned about the emissary who chose love over power, who ruled through wisdom rather than fear. But the greatest testament to their choice wasn't in the songs or stories. It was in the small moments, the way Vera still tended flowers in their garden, the way Dane still looked at her as if she were the most beautiful being in the universe. It was in the hybrid children they had adopted from across the galaxy, raised with love that transcended species boundaries. The Council's philosophers are still debating what made you choose me, Vera said one night as they lay entwined, their bodies moving together in the ancient dance of love. Tell them it was simple, Dane whispered, his lips against her throat. I saw you, and I knew I was home. The galaxy never forgot the man who didn't choose beauty for its own sake, who saw past the surface to find something eternal. In choosing truth over appearance, wisdom over youth, depth over shallow perfection, he had not just won the love of a cosmic entity, he had changed the very nature of what it meant to love. And in the end, that was his greatest victory. Not the battles won or the peace secured, but the simple truth that love, real love, has the power to awaken not just individuals, but entire civilizations. The stars themselves bore witness to their legacy, singing songs that would echo through eternity about the human who chose her heart over the galaxy's expectations, and the emissary who found in his love the strength to change the universe itself.